everybody, welcome to the Black Sheep Props channel. I'm Steve and I'm here to teach you the tips, tools, techniques, and materials for building your very own super cool EVA foam props. Now in our last build we went sci-fi when we made Luke Skywalker's lightsaber. It was awesome. If you missed that build, we're going to include the link to our channel's homepage in the description below, so you can go there and check out lightsaber or any of our other builds that are there. But now for this build, we're going to go video game. So without further ado, Black Sheep Props would like to introduce you to the newest member of the family. Bam! The Hylian Shield! Woo! Yeah! From the Legend of Zelda. Check that out. Got all the details you know and love on there. Simple build. Most of it's one layer around the edge, one layer for the cutouts. 2 layers up in here so that we can have a little recessed area there, but super easy. Tons of dremeling to create these bevels on the scroll work. That's the slightly difficult part, but you can totally do it. So in this episode, making an EVA foam Hylian Shield part 1, we're going to begin going step by step to how to make this bad boy. And if you want to build along with us, we have templates for this build as well, so we're going to also include the link to our storefront in the description below, so if you want to go there and yank a template, you can, and you can build along with us, or you can grab a template for any one of our other builds. They're all there. So I'm going to shut my pie hole now. If you're ready to hit it, let's make something. Alright, here's our pattern for our Hylian Shield from Zelda. Couple little difficult spots right in here, but we are pretty sure we'll be able to nail it. The rest of it should be pretty easy. We're gonna start to cut this apart and use this as our templates to transfer over to our foam. Gonna be cool. All right, here's our shield. We transferred our template over to our 1/2" foam, that's 12 millimeter. And we took all of our pieces and we traced them out, so as we are cutting them out and doing whatever it is we're doing to them, we'll know right exactly where we need to stick them down. So here's the thickest part of our shield, all of our pieces traced out, and then we've got this outer strip traced out on a 4 millimeter piece because we're going to be cutting this out and cutting these holes out, and it's starting to layer up everything on this shield. Okay, now here's all the other pieces that are going to be layered up on the shield, traced over onto their different thicknesses of foam. We have everywhere from a 4 millimeter up to a 1/2". We have down to 8 and 10 millimeter. So like we always talk about, you're going to do different thicknesses of foam for different pieces. So, and that's it. We've got all of our pieces transferred over. Now we're going to begin doing all the cutting. Okay, here's our 2 double beveled, crazy curly peak detail pieces. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in and we're going to cut both of these on the bandsaw, but what we're going to do is the whole inside, this whole side will be cut on the bandsaw with a bevel cut, as well as this side, but then all of the inside edges we're going to cut straight. And then we're going to have to come in with the Dremel and we're going to have to bevel the inner side. So we're going to start cutting this out on the bandsaw. Okay, we've got our table tilted. We're going to start cutting our bevel cut. Okay, we had to finish that cut with our box cutter because sometimes you can't get in to the bandsaw. But we can smooth all this out later. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come back in and we're going to continue cutting right through that center peak all the way around. All right, there we go. We've got our bevel edge all the way around this one side. Now we're going to come in and do the same thing to this piece. Straighten our table back out. We're going to lower our guide, because you always want to lower it to be about a ½ inch or so above your cut. All right, now we're going to cut the inside on a straight line. Never pull your piece out of a cut while the machine is running, so you turn it off, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to take this big empty piece out of the middle. See that? You just come in and you slowly cut out sections until you have all your pieces cut out. Now we're going to come in through here. We're going to connect up right here at the corner where we stop. And just like that. Alright, so we did the bevel cut on this side and we did the straight cut on this side. Now we're going to do that to the other piece, and then once that's ready, then we'll begin dremeling this whole inside to create the bevel on that side. Alright, there we go. A little bit tricky, you just have to take your time. You have to go into corners, back out, come in from other directions, back out. But as you can tell, we've got the bevel around this side and we've got the straight edge around this side. And remember, we talked about the test that we did where on the inside, we're going to come in with the Dremel, and we're going to Dremel all this beveling. These corners and the bevel. And we're going to do that on both of these next. Alright, here we go. We got our dust mask on, we got our gloves on, because we don't want to get the mess all over us. And what we're going to do too is, because these ends need to come down to a point at the table here and here, we're going to come in with our scissors. We're going to start down at the bottom, and we're going to cut right to the top like that so it goes down to the table. And we're going to come over here and we're going to do the same thing here. Alright, there we go. Now it goes down to the table here and down to the table here. And we're going to start dremeling this whole edge down to a bevel. Now what we want to do is we're going to Dremel all the way up right to this peak. That is cool. So now when we stick this down on our shield, it's going to have the bevel on the inside and on the outside. Look at that. So now we're going to follow all the way around this piece. Alright, now to come in here and do a corner, we're going to have to come in with the edge. And we're going to make a line. Now we're going to come in here on an angle, and we're going to start getting into our corner. Alright, see that? Now we're just going to come over to this side, get some of the edge down. Like that. Now we're going to get in here, and we're going to start doing the same thing we did. We're going to use our edge. And you saw how we got the corners, so we're just going to continue that all the way around. Alright, there we go. Now we're going to bring in our heat gun, and we're going to seal it, and it should tighten it up pretty nicely. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that. That whole inside section was beveled with the Dremel. Not terrible. And just a littlest tiny bit on the edge. Get some of those frays off. Wow, that is not bad. All right, now we're gonna go through this whole mess again with the other one. All right, there we go. Whew, let's take a 10-minute break and clean this disaster area up. There is Dremel dust everywhere. That's why you wanna wear your dust mask. All right, now we've got this piece. We traced over onto our 4mm foam. We're gonna cut it out with the exacto knife. And then all right, there we go. Now we just gotta cut out these other two and we're all set. All right, there we go. We've got our 3 perfect little circles. We're gonna keep these and save them. And we're going to attach this right here where our lines are. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna heat both of these up and then we're gonna contact cement and stick it. All right, there we go. Now we'll let them both dry for a couple minutes and then bam, contact. All right, here we go. Now we're gonna have to be pretty careful with this because we do not want to let these things stick together. So what we're gonna do is we're going to come in, we're gonna start down here at the bottom and line up our center just like that. All right, there we go, completely anchored on this end. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come down the edge of our Sharpie outline here on the outside. There we go. Now we don't want to stretch it. We want to lay it down without stretching it. Because, see, we're being careful, and even though we were careful, it still is almost already stretching a little bit. Because what happens is after you cut it and then you heat seal it a little bit, it can slightly shrink the foam. Bam, there we go. All right, there we go, perfect, look at that, that's sweet. All right, now we're just gonna continue cutting all of our center pieces and sticking them down. All right, now we're gonna come in with our exacto knife. Now we're gonna... There we go, time to start cutting them out. See that, how we just keep the knife stood up? That way we can pivot around the tight corners. All right, there we go. Just keep going. All right, now we're gonna come in with our sharpened brass tube to poke out these little, just like that, look at that, popped right through there. Look at that, just like 2 or 3 spins and pop, it pops right out, and look at that, we got perfect rivets. We're gonna keep those for some other build. Nice. All right, there we go, perfect. Nice and easy. Now we're going to come in and we're going to attack all this scrolly business here.
Alright, we're going to stand our knife up and we're going to pivot it because we've got some really tight circles here. But what we're basically doing is acting like a bandsaw right now by standing the knife up, and we can just pivot around the blade like that. It's that easy. Just stand your knife up and you can pivot right around all the curves. Look at that. That is turning out tight. Alright, there we go. Now we're going to come in with our sharpened brass tube. We're going to put it right over our hole, which is the perfect size. Perfect. Look at that. Wow. That is nice. And we're just going to do all three. Alright, there we go. Piece of cake. Now we're going to bring in another piece of foam and we're going to stick this down on top of it so we have a nice recessed detail in all these spots. Alright, now we're going to seal before we glue. All right, there we go. Give it a few minutes. Man, that went down really crooked. But, like I said, it doesn't really matter because once we seal this with plastidip, you won't see the Sharpie lines. So, we're pretty good. Box cutter, and go right through our edges like that. Alright, there we go. Now we're going to take this over to the bandsaw and we're going to cut this out on the bandsaw. Alright, there we go. Cut out on the bandsaw. Now with our sanding stick, we're going to take off all the fuzzies from around the edge. Alright, we're getting all the little frays off of the edge. Now we don't want to hit it too hard because we don't want to separate the glue. Very light, just enough to tighten it up. Okay, so what we're going to do is we want to come in and we want to bevel cut all the edges of this. So we're going to line our straight edge up, and we're not going to keep the knife straight up. We're going to tip it sideways because we want a slight bevel cut. And we're going to go right through like that. Right through on that side. And then we're going to do the final third cut, also with the knife tilted, just like that. Now, what we have is this. Wow, look at that. That is nice. Nice beveled edge around the whole thing. All right, we came in and we drew a guideline about 3/16 of an inch in from the edge. And that's where we're gonna line up our triangles. So we'll hit a real quick line for roughly where we want to contact cement. It's okay if we go a little bit outside the line because it'll get covered when we seal it. All right, we are going to heat seal our triangles. Boy, it is pouring rain outside right now. All right, there we go. Give it a few minutes and then bam, contact. All right. Nice and simple. We're going to come in and we're going to line it up with the very outside of our Sharpie mark. there and there. Right there with edge to edge. We want it nice and flush down here. Look at that, that's nice. Now we're gonna line this up on the Sharpie line right there. Wow, is that cool? There we go. Look at that. Man, is that nice. Now we're going to lightly heat seal this area in here. All right, there we go. Give it a few minutes. All right, here we go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we come in here just like that. Look at that, it's tight here and tight here. Very cool. And there we go. Spot on. All right, there we go. Look at that. Wow, this thing's really starting to come out jamming. You can totally do this. This is easy. The only thing that was difficult, we've said it before, was this. Man, these were kind of monsters. Doing the bevel with the Dremel. But we did it. It's not terrible. Not the greatest one in the world. But pretty cool. Once we seal it, ooh, gonna be good. Digging this. All right, that was it. You saw how easy it all was. We just take our time like we always do. Everything's going down nice and smooth, slowly going through it step by step, and it's not hard. That's about it. That easy, nothing too difficult. That concludes making an EVA foam Hylian Shield Part 1. Hope you liked it. If you did, give us a like, share us with a friend, and subscribe to this channel. And together we're going to go step by step through a lot more super cool builds so that you get the props you deserve. Thanks for coming. See you next time.